The evaluation of the Louvre found open roof access. Open roof access, meaning if you got to the roof, or if you wanted to go to the roof, you could. There is no security in the way keeping you from doing that. Now, I find that also interesting because why'd they break through the window if they could just get in from the roof real easy? Now, I'm not advocating any kind of parachute style robbery. However, that said, this is pretty close to Blockbuster at this point. The only thing that you needed to make this more of a Netflix series was parachuting into the Louvre's, ceiling and then just going through the door. But there were problems such as that. Then, the one that everyone knows about now is the Wi-Fi password to the security system and to the surveillance system was Louvre. And they had a very outdated Windows server, all of which that apparently when they were reassessed a year later, a lot of the same vulnerabilities were there, right? And so this is a really long answer to your question. Mm-hmm. I see this often, right? Because everyone wants to do the pen test and find out where the security flaws are. No one wants to take responsibility for addressing them. Why? Because it's boring. It's all so boring. And I'll tell you how that works because you can say, well, no, some of them are pretty cool, Frank. Do some patching for an organization because know what you can't do? Just push a patch out. You have to coordinate the patch, push out. You have to test the patch to make sure that it doesn't break any systems. You have to document all of your efforts while doing this so that if you do then push the patch out greater to the system, you have documented proof showing that, hey, it didn't break when we tested it because if it does break something, then someone's going to come looking for you. You need to do a lot of work that is not fun and is pretty boring, like brushing teeth and taking out the garbage, but it has to be done. So what I found often is that and then companies can do this for you, but a lot of instances, organizations that have these services done to them will pay for the penetration test, but not necessarily for the remediation stuff. Or they think they can do the remediation, and they can with the staff that they have, it's just the staff doesn't do it. There's a lot of reasons for this. But the big one I found often is that it's boring. No one likes a register of actions to do, prioritized by key risk levels and so forth. It's not fun, but it comes down to whenever anyone says, I don't like this, it's not called show friends, it's called show business, right? And same thing with cyber, right? It's not just cyber and friends. I would love to do cyber and friends. You and I got to do cyber and friends for a while there back in one of our old jobs. Yeah. It was just fun. But it's cybersecurity is a business now and we're all adults. So I think that was the big thing that happened here. Also, I see the assessment that took place, and this is what I want to know your opinion on because you, doctor, have done a great deal of research on these things. The assessment, when I looked at the findings that have been released in the media of them failing assessments, I couldn't see any specific framework that was applied. Where with some of these frameworks, there's serious consequences where if you don't actually take action, it can result in serious issues. And I know GDPR is a law, but I'll reference it in the same breath, right? A great example there. But also ISO 27001, right? You can't get certified. Even SOC accreditation, which is separate from necessarily substantial physical things like Windows security. But I find it interesting that 1, the assessment was done. 2, they found the same problems later. And 3, there was no, stick to actually encourage them to make the changes.